Hello and welcome to Sidejoy. We're going to talk about some more common pets you can have with Nick today, but no snakes this time. Just a bearded dragon, a leopard gecko, and a white street frog. Tell us about Bruno.
Bruno is a bearded dragon from Australia. They make really great pets. They're really common in the pet trade right now because they're very personable. They're very easy to take care of. They pretty much eat greens, crickets, mealworms, superworms. Most stuff you can either buy at a pet store or a supermarket. Bruno's about half grown right now. They can get right around 2 feet. They're very friendly, very handleable. As babies, they can be a little bit wiry. They like to run around, but when they get to Bruno's size, they calm down really nicely. And they're called bearded dragons. If you can see, he's just starting to get it now, but a little bit of a blackish tint under his chin. By the time he's full grown, that'll be jet black, and they can puff their chin all the way out. They fill it with air. Makes them look big and scary if anything tries to eat them, and males will also use it when they're fighting for territory or something like that.
So what's like right there on him? What's that?
Oh, that's his ear.
That's why.
Yep. Yeah, most lizards have some form of external ear. And that's what it looks like. And then all the spikes and everything all over them are just to make them look scary.
So he's usually in like a desert, sandy...
Yeah, they live in desert. They can take really high temperatures. In his cage, his basking spot is usually about 110 to 112, and he just lays right out on it and loves it.
Is he a good climber?
They don't live in the trees, but they do climb on like rock formations and tree stumps and stuff like that. They don't go too high, but they are good climbers.
Do you want to feed him?
So fast.
Does he have like a very sticky tongue?
It's not really sticky like a frog or a chameleon or something like that, but it does have a little bit of stickiness to it. And this is something about lizards. If you saw, he looked right at the cricket and didn't eat it. Lizards' vision, if you've ever seen Jurassic Park, they talk about how the dinosaurs' vision is based on movement. It's not really based on movement. They can see it. They just don't recognize it as food. Anything that's not moving to them isn't food. So he was looking at it, but he didn't really recognize what it was. As soon as it moved, he knew it was food.
So I imagine in like a desert region you could hear footsteps like a lot better. Yeah. So if a bigger thing was coming to get you. Right,
exactly. And actually in the wild, in Australia, their biggest predators are probably snakes and birds. There's a lot of pythons in Australia that eat them. Moving on to lizards, we already talked about bearded dragons. This is another really common pet lizard. This is a leopard gecko. This one's full grown. This is as big as she's ever going to get. She's about 10 years old or so. Leopard geckos can live a pretty long time. They can live to be about 20 years old. They do eat crickets, mealworms. They do need to be fed a lot more often than snakes. Adults will eat about 5 times a week. Babies need to eat every day. They don't need as much space as most of the snakes. Like one leopard gecko can live in a 10-gallon tank. The same thing with a heating pad on the bottom and a water bowl and something to hide under. And baby leopard geckos, it's kind of like when I was talking about the baby snakes. They can be very fast. They're afraid of everything. So they're not something that you should really handle on a regular basis. You should wait till they get a little bit more size on them. Wait till they're more used to people. And then once they're full grown, you can handle them like this. And she'll just crawl around.
Like you were telling us, the other ones, its tail?
Yeah, leopard geckos, their tail is a lot fatter. They store a lot of fat and water in their tail. They come from the deserts in Afghanistan, Pakistan. So they have to be ready to go a long time without water. And like I was saying, they can drop their tail like a lot of other lizards, but when they do, they're at a very high risk for dehydration because that's where they store most of their water.
I think it licked me.
Yeah, lizards are a lot like snakes where they use their tongue to smell and find out what's going on. So as they walk along, they'll just kind of touch things with their tongue just to see what it is.
It's got cool eyes.
Yeah. They have, they're nocturnal, so their eyes are actually a lot like cat eyes.
So a lot of the lizards and things you show us, legs are like at 90-degree angles to their bodies. Is that so they stay up off the desert floor?
Yeah, that does have a lot to do with it. Since the sand in the desert gets so hot, they'll have to stay up off of it. The big thing to keep in mind with any amphibian, anybody who knows ecology, they're known as an indicator species. They can absorb any sort of toxins through their skin, and a lot of ecologists, as soon as they see something wrong with the amphibian population, they know there's pollution or toxins or something like that. So this ties into people where when you have pet amphibians, you really shouldn't handle them too much because any sort of oil on your skin, if you have lotions, perfumes, anything like that, they can absorb it through their skin really easily. One amphibian that does tolerate handling pretty well is the white tree frog. These guys are pretty common. People love them.
I was just going to ask if it jumps.
They do jump. They have very personable faces. They get bigger than this. They'll get about twice this size.
You're going to jump up my face.
They do tolerate handling pretty well. You still shouldn't do it a whole lot. You have to make sure your hands are extremely clean before you handle them, and you should probably keep it to only about 10 minutes or so a couple times a week. And these guys will eat crickets and superworms. Very easy to take care of. They do need high humidity. I keep mine with moss on the bottom, and I mist them about 3 or 4 times a week just to keep it wet.
So they have like a little pond?
Yep, they have a little water dish they can sit in. They won't go swimming like a lot of frogs. They only need about an inch or so of water every once in a while. They'll just sit in it at night.
Thanks for watching this episode of Sidejoy. Tell us what reptile or amphibian pets you've had. You can tell us in the comments below on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, or Instagram. And remember, keep exploring.